So, hello there. Yes, the first thing you'll notice, of course, is that my room is different because I've moved place finally. I have probably mentioned it here and there, but it has finally happened. And the first thing you'll notice, sorry, I'm just, screen is, I must have spat on the screen, there's huge blobs on there. They are gone now. Be without concern. So, yes, new place. You'll notice the lighting sucks. I did order a light to illuminate me in a better way because right now the light's coming from here. It's kind of doing this, which in the back of my head doesn't work. It sucks. Doesn't work. It looks awful. Anyway, let's do a little bit of a tour of the room. The door is now closed, as you can see, so you can get a better sense, I guess, of the room. So, double bed behind me, walls, corners, uniform corners. Always good. Always a good sign. Uniform corners. Got some storage over towards the other side of the room. And again, it looks kind of small, but it's actually pretty spacious, I would say. Pretty damn spacious. You can see I drink coffee from a beaker because I am a massive badass. Got my branched chain amino acids in this bitch. Got my sleeping aids down there. But so you know, I've got my melatonin and my my nitol. You know, if you have jet lag and stuff, I'd take anything at this point to help me. Anything at all. I'll do anything. I'll do anything. What else do I need to show? I guess there's not really much else. I mean, you can kind of see my setup. I've got 2 monitors and keyboard and stuff. Nothing all that interesting. Here is a pen I stole from the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas. It's very near and dear to my heart at this point. Another pen. Fantastic. Pens are good for writing. My chair is broken. And there is the room tour. So it is now complete. Perhaps I'll do a more proper tour at some point of the place. But for now, this is probably good enough. Right then. So this tour is done. So now it is time for I mentioned I'm getting light. Yeah, mentioned that I'll get new lighting on Friday. I've ordered something. Hopefully that works. But anyway, this will be some QuakeWorld action. So quickly. I will explain a little bit about QuakeWorld and why it's awesome, and a little bit, tiny bit of the history there on the game, and you know its existence and so on, and what sprung from that. If you already know all this shit and already know about QuakeWorld, or just generally not interested in any of this early shit, I will do it as well. But please, like, link into the game directly for those people who want to skip the intro. But I feel like because it's a new place, I don't want to make a video just specifically for the new place because it would be about 2 minutes long at this point. So. Okay, my flies are undone. Okay, gotta fix that. Okay, that's now fixed. Great. Can't make a video with flies undone. It's simply bad form. So, QuakeWorld is basically it's Quake 1, right? Quake 1, you may have heard of Quake 1. Quake 1 is the first, or idTech 1, which is the engine Quake 1 was built on. idTech 1 is the first real 3D engine ever to be created, actually. Before that, you had the kind of the engines that Doom and games like that, Duke Nukem were on, which used basically these sprites. It was like 2.5D, I guess, to an extent. It wasn't actual real 3D. The idTech 1 engine was the first 3D engine, and it was created by John Carmack, who unfortunately did get kind of pushed out of its software, and there was weird legal stuff going on there. I think he's being accused of some weird shit, and may or may not be true. I don't really know, but it was a little bit sad considering the history that's there. You can go read about John Carmack. I'm sure it's on his Wikipedia page. He is a genius, and he now works for Oculus Rift, which is great. He's still doing genius things, which is fantastic. So yeah, he created this engine, and so essentially, some people would consider him essentially one of the fathers or grandfathers of FPS due to that fact. I guess that's always going to be up for debate. Whatever. He's an important dude. So many people don't know, Counter-Strike players, that Half-Life 1 came from the idTech 1 engine. It was built from that. It was modified as a modified version of that, just very slightly, and that's why the movement is actually the same as this game. This game is, you'll see basically this game is very free because you don't get, you have full air control, and you don't get the way the acceleration works in the air is exactly the same actually as it is now, pretty much. Yeah, actually, it's pretty much exactly the same. It's been tampered with a little bit, but it's basically the same principles, although you don't get slowed down and so on and so forth. And I'll kind of point this out. Anyway, so then going into CS Source, that was a modified version of the Half-Life 1 engine. And then what do we play right now with Counter-Strike? Global Offensive, where we play on this. It's based on the Source engine, which again, if you look at the Source engine, there will be code left over from John Carmack's time, stuff that he wrote in there, like I suppose dormant code, unless it's been significantly cleaned up, which who knows. I have never looked at the code, nor would I understand it. Should I do so? So yeah, QuakeWorld is essentially an important game. I'm actually going to cast some of it in Vegas, which is weird. Maybe I'll talk about that at some other point. Who knows? After I do it, going to Vegas for that in a week. So let's jump into the game then. Tasty, right? So it's time, ladies and gents, to get into the game. Which button is it? This one. Black screen. Game. Fantastic. Beautiful. Brilliant. So, okay, QuakeWorld. This is dm3. Welcome to dm3, friends. Yes. I want to fly around. Wait. Can I? Please fly. There we go. Yes. I'm flying around. This is your red armor room. This is the best armor. It provides 75% protection. That's how the damage gets distributed. 25% health, 75% onto the armor. That's how it works. The yellow armor, I believe, is 50%, or is it 66? I think it's 50. Yeah, I think it's 50, and then green is 25% protection. But this is the weapons room. You've got the lightning gun, which is insanely powerful, and the rocket launcher here, and you've got the pentagram outside, which gives you invulnerability, and you've got the quad damage here, which spawns every 1 minute, and it gives you 4 times damage. So, and the rocket launchers are insanely powerful, as you'll see. It's actually absurd. So let's do lineups real quick. We've got Fragmatic versus Sudden Death. This is the EQL 20 finals, and EQL is the premier 4 versus 4 league that runs in QuakeWorld and still runs, of course, to this day. This is the last grand finals. So we've got Fragmatic versus Sudden Death, and we've got Creature, Fragmatic, Dicky, and Milton of TVS fame. Milton, arguably one of the best players, or maybe the best QuakeWorld player of all time, for the greatest period of time across all the game modes. 1 versus 1, 4 versus 2, 4 versus 4, and 2 versus 2. Xantum, also of TVS fame, and I believe he was in Fragmatic in the past. Everyone's been on every team at this point. This game's been going. These guys have been playing this game for 16, 18 years. Carapace, who is one of the players I respected the most, who kind of came back from a period of inactivity back around the period when I was quitting, around 2011. Very good player. Razor, also typical Sudden Death player. Rickle from 1 versus 1 fame. He's won a lot of 1v1 cups. He's a very, very, very hardcore, hardworking, hard grinding player, but he's known mostly for his one-on-one, and he kind of switched into 4 versus 4 later on. Rio, I don't actually really know anything about Rio at all, so whatever. So, oh, fuck. Okay. So what we're going to do is put it on auto track. And this might seem chaotic, but here we go. So, everything spawns at the start, and you can see Rickle managed to pick up the pentagram. Oh, so what we're going to do is, accidentally switch there. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly check the status of the map. So just give it a few seconds, and then see who has what, because it's very important in this game. So, Rickle getting he should be going for the rocket launcher now, and once he pressures, so he's going to pressure into the yellow armor. The rocket launcher spawn around 30, and so he's just trying to take control of the area with his teammates, and now he's going to get himself in there. And looks like the quad damage did die already, and Rickle's going to be able to pick up the rocket launcher. So 2 rocket launchers to Sudden Death. Now the other rocket launcher is going to be on Rickle, who's actually not in position towards the red armor just yet. So Rickle has a really important job of getting himself situated on the red armor. So a lot of health, and his teammates have already cleared out the area for him, and there you'll be able to see that he's going to, sorry about that, he's going to be able to pick that one up. And now this is really important, because Rickle now, as you can see, with time is coming on to 1 minute, which means quad damage, you can see it in the bottom left, is spawning in 9 seconds. Now, quad damage, again, is very, very important, but Rickle has a few jobs to do. The most important of which is to make sure that the red armor room is not lost, because he is the only strong rocket launcher on his team. Although, actually, that said, Rio is actually in there, so Rio will be able to pick up the next one. So this actually means that Rickle can take the slight risk, because Rio is low and the red won't spawn for a while, the slight risk to actually go and pressure into the yellow and the weapons room to deny weapons from his teammates. And he's going to be able to Just keep the pressure up here, and there's not much contestation for this, so you can see he's going to push into the weapons room, and he wants to try to hunt down Dicky there, who's managed to get quite stacked up. He got a red armor, and he actually picked up a rocket launcher here. So Dicky needs to survive. He's on the run, and Rickle needs to go for the kill here, and he's trying to do so, but he doesn't want to extend too far, because, sure, the kill is great, but he needs to make sure that his teammates can keep getting red armors, keep getting weapons, and that's the main idea for Rickle here. You want stable control, you don't want to take any massive risks, because again, the weapons are so insanely powerful that if you make one mistake, you can get hugely punished and you have a massive swing in control. In this game, you can make frags like incredibly quickly, because one shot with a rocket will kill a spawner almost immediately if you hit it well enough. You can see Rickle just holding on here, and it looks like Fragmatic have caught a bit of a flood here into the red armor room, and it's not going to be too successful. Rickle's just going to pick up a few frags, and he won't be really any worse for it. Although Creature with that LG doing a lot of damage, and actually looks like he's going to be able to steal away the quad damage. So a good attack there, good pressure into the quad there, and that's actually going to take away a lot of armor and resources from Sudden Death, who were in a very, very good position. They are still situated quite well. And we'll have to see whether or not Fragmatic can hold on right now, because again, they've destabilized a little bit Sudden Death. Sudden Death have to be a bit more defensive now to pick up these weapons. They've got to play more defensively because they can't really afford to take as much damage. They can't be as risky with their moves. And that gives breathing room for Fragmatic to pick up weapons. But so far, we can see that, in fact, Dicky still has that rocket launcher. Again, he was the guy that Razor was after previously. I believe it was Razor. That Razor was after previously, or Carabase. I don't know who it was. But Dicky comes in now. Perfect timing. He's going to be able to find the kill onto an out-of-position Razor, killing the weapon, and now giving his team red armor control just at a period where quad is going to be spawning. So this is really nice timing, this attack into the red armor room from Fragmatic. And now Dicky's trying to take control of this quad damage. He's going to be able to pick that one up now as well. And he's going to have to, again, make sure that he keeps control of this red armor room, because his health and armor is low. And his teammates need to make sure that this is always under control. It's one of the most important things if you've got a rocket launcher, because you need to always be able to go back there. And of course, you've got positioning on quad as well, if you do have that room. And he's even secured this yellow armor. There's a spawn there, and I think he just about saved it. That yellow armor is still up, so he wants his teammates to pick up the weapons from the weapons room, which is right next to him, to try to just get themselves into this yellow, which he's holding for them. But at the moment, it looks as if that's not really happening so much. Because he's just picking up spawn frags. And as far as his team is working right now, Fragmatic have Milton, who has been holding the red armor area. That's why Dicky can be here. Because once you have the guy in red armor, holding that steady, you can get the guy pressuring into the yellow. Removing weapons, removing armor from the enemies, and now Milton is looking to take this quad damage. And the LG is insane. The lightning gun, the shaft, it does 30 damage itself, of course, times 4, 120 damage per cell, of which he has 19. So the weapon is incredibly devastating. As you can see, he's able to kill a player with a weapon there, and that's going to be collected by his teammate. Again, weapons are a massive resource in this game because they're so insanely powerful, and you don't really care about the rocket and the LG. So you're going to be able to kill one of them on the other team. That's Rickle down. So now the swing of weapons goes towards Fragmatic. They've got 2 rocket launchers to the 1 of Sudden Death. And rocket launchers are much better at holding areas positionally, so that's why they're really important. Because when you have the armors, you're able to, you know, because the splash damage is so huge, with like a high up position, you're able to take fights really effectively and hold areas. And now the Pent spawning at 5 minutes, every 5 minutes, and Milton with a timely push there from the SMG stairs area, lifts area, sorry. He's going to be able to pick up the Pents and now the quad as well. So he is invulnerable, and he's doing 4 times damage. He's got all the weapons, so obviously he's pretty stacked right now. And you can do some crazy rocket jumps with the Pent as well when you got quad. But he's just going to go the safe route up the top there and just make sure he grabs that. Could have picked up the pack there. He might come back for it. He needs some rockets, but there are some rockets there by the telly. Missed that pack as well. Still needs some rockets, and there we go. He picks up the 5 pack. And again, you can see he's keeping control. Good control of this position here. And you've got to be careful of the water area, because in this game, oh, that's a great block, and that's going to be a great capitalization there from Rickle, getting some damage in as Milton was actually just hanging in midair there, and he lost almost all of his armor. And that's, again, you can see he was so stacked previously, but the lightning gun at 30 damage a cell is incredibly powerful. You don't even need armor to take a fight. You just need a small distraction good window of opportunity and hitting the aim, hitting the execution, and you'll get the damage done. Milton now has to relieve his presence more forwardly in the map to pick up the red armor to then be able to pressure back into this. And now we can see that in the meantime, Dickie's going to pick up the quad damage. So it's still a good amount of control here going towards the Fragmatic teams. And to be honest, they look in really, really good stead to keep this period of dominance going. What Sudden need to be able to do is to try to just get some good or some armor steals. Especially, they can't really let so much pressure come in from Fragmatic onto these yellows. The problem is that you will give away a lot of frags by doing this, but they can't allow this lockdown to happen where Fragmatic have a strong situation on the yellow, on the red armor. They're getting their choice of pressure into the weapons room as well, denying everything that's possible. They have to get a coordinated effort in. They have to obviously keep up timing the weapons, pick up all the weapons, and try to get a win on this arm. And there you go. They time a push in with the rocket launcher, the new rocket launcher, and the new lightning gun that were picked up. And they managed to catch Dickie off guard and take him down. So they'll get some breathing space onto the yellow. But you can see now Creature is still looking pretty good. He does need some armor here to be safe, and he's going to pick up the red armor before going back into yellow. And we just saw Sudden Death taking over the yellow room. So Creature needs to take that back now, and here he goes. He's going in there. You can see Razor's going to get himself the hell out of the way, and Creature won't be able to get the kill onto Razor. Now, Razor is incredibly important right now. He's got a rocket launcher, and Razor is on the other team. He's in Sudden Death. He's got a rocket launcher. He's got a yellow armor, and he needs to keep himself alive, because once he does that, he can use that rocket launcher and armor to time his teammates back into this yellow room to take it over, and then maybe there can be 2 rocket launchers with yellow armors, and then maybe they can have a strong challenge into a quad, and then potentially get themselves onto the red armor control once again. So you can see that it does take a lot of structured development. You gotta build slowly, and it's very difficult, especially when the other team knows exactly kind of these strategies and what you want to be doing. And here we go, we've got Fragmatic in for another quad. Now, they're going to be trying to play against this. They know that there's some weapons alive with armor now at this point, and, well, it's like Milton's just going to kill pretty much all of them. So, all that work, all that hard work that was going there for Sudden Death is now completely turned to dirt. Milton just keeping the pressure up into the weapons area, and it's looking pretty good so far, as he goes back now to the yellow armor and just doing the rounds on dm3. So we're almost halfway through this, and the second pet, or the third pen is going to be spawning soon. Every 5 minutes, spawns at the start of the game, at 5 minutes, at 10 minutes, 15, and of course 20 is when the map ends. So we've got Milton now going back into the quad area, looking for those spawn frags. He's finding them all over the place. And this is what happens, this is what I was saying, like if your team gets a bit of a lockdown, so many frags can happen all at once because of the spawners. The quad is spawning now, speaking of spawns. Boom, there it is. His teammate, you can see Creature that's holding onto the S&G Telly exit area, or the ring area as it's known, which is right underneath the red armor area. And Milton's just going to top up onto the red armor. In this situation, I mean, the quad damage doesn't need to do a lot of work, and oh, we've got to be careful, could get discharged, but it looks like, in fact, he will be okay. And if you have a lightning gun, you're in the water, and you shoot that, depending on the ammunition that you have, it will dictate the range and the damage that is done by the discharge. And that means you can basically insta-give people with the discharge if you shoot the lightning gun underwater. And so that's a good comeback mechanic. But if you, as the team in control, are timing the lightning guns, and you know where and when they are spawning. And by the way, this is something that everyone keeps track of in this game. You can just quickly look at the console. And there's a lot of information being passed between everybody all the time in this game. It's quite an art, actually. Then you can safely attack that area without having to worry about getting insta-gibbed and without having to worry about that comeback mechanic. But it looks like Fragmatic will claim the next pentagram, and this time it will be Creature picking up the quad pen. Before it was Milton. So it's looking like Fragmatic are having a pretty easy time of this right now. In QuakeWorld, again, you can have massive swings really quickly. And I haven't watched this game before casting it because I wanted to just have a more natural response. And it's been a long time since I watched QuakeWorld, I gotta say. But it is fair to say that right now the Sudden Death are getting pretty wrecked. And generally speaking, they've had a couple opportunities, but not. I mean, only maybe 2 really strong, solid opportunities. You don't end up getting very many opportunities versus very good teams. That's why that's one of the reasons why this game is quite cool, because it's so fast paced that if you do fuck something up, then that's, you know, that can happen because of the pace, and just one fuck up in this game can be everything, and you can get some interesting situations. It looks like Creature's going to be able to pick up the next quad. He's actually taking quite a lot of damage here. He's getting kind of low, and the boomsticks are doing some damage here at range. He's going to back away there, trying to force them into bad engagements, but he's actually missing some of the shots here. No covering fire behind himself could be problematic, but he will survive that engagement. 10 HP, in fact. So he is looking pretty low indeed. Looking for the help. Oh, he's going to go down, so that's one weapon gone, and you can actually, that was very avoidable there from Creature. He could have easily kept himself alive in that situation. But now that's one less weapon for the team. So if we look at the situation, Fragmatic, they have 2 rocket launchers, which again is generally speaking the minimum to have control. But the other one, other than Xanthem, is actually quite low. Milton's on almost no armor, in fact. So Milton's just is in really bad shape for Fragmatic. So is Xanthem now, as we can see. So this is a really good opportunity for Sudden Death to get themselves back into this game somehow. But we'll have to see whether they're actually able to do that. Again, in situations like this, you get a lot more breathing room to pick up armor and weapons, yellow armors and lightning guns and rockets, and then into the quad damage as well. You can see Creature just over there, and it's going to be Sudden Death who pick up the quad damage, and it is a bit of a steal. Rio does not have anything to use with it, but even with this boomstick, the boomstick can do 96 damage if you hit a full-on shot with the quad damage, so he's going to be actually picking up the rocket launcher there as well. So Sudden Death now have to be very, very tense, because they don't know when the attack's going to come, and if it at all it will. In fact, Fragmatic do look to be taking the very defensive option. I mean, for them it's better to lick their wounds, pick up the red armors. They already have 2 rocket launchers and an LG. The LG has got a mega. It's looking to get itself onto the red armor in good time, and then they can go back together for an attack. And look how beautifully Fragmatic have just completely switched off the aggression. They're going fully defensive. They're saying, okay, if you get the weapons, if you get the quad, if you get the yellow armors, we're not going to give you any opportunities for an engagement until that quad is run out. And then when the next quad comes, we're going to go for the attack. And here it is, the quad is spawning, the attack comes in, and Fragmatic take the quad room with ease. It's looking very good for them at this point in time, and Race is actually going to lose his rocket launcher there. I apologize for my phone. Fuck the phone. Who gives a shit? Anyway, looks like Fragmatic are in good stead once again. So, I mean, they played that pretty much perfectly to a T. Now, you might ask, you know, how was Sudden Death to deal with that? Because, again, Sudden Death should be able to read that situation almost perfectly. This game has been played out for so long that it's pretty easy to read what teams are trying to do. In that situation, you've got to basically go all in, because with this kind of frag deficit, that has to turn into a quad pickup. That has to turn in, or it has to turn into an all-out bloodbath where everybody dies and all the weapons are lost. And there are packs everywhere, and armors are up for grabs. And the way that they do that is actually playing more aggressively into the ring area, which is, I'll point that out in a second. It's right below where Xanthem is, because they let Fragmatic get too easily into position onto the quad there. Either way, attack comes in. Looks like actually Xanthem got put out of position slightly there, and the boomstick of Carapace. He's actually got a rocket launcher as well. He's doing some good damage here. He's not got much health. He's gonna bore there, and that's gonna be a pack on the ground. I wonder who's gonna get that one. As when you kill yourself in this game, or when you basically the way that it works is you'll see the weapon scripts being used. So like it will shoot a rocket and it'll switch back to the boomstick. The reason is because, and will you see it? Okay, no, actually, he switched back to the boomstick right now, but I have a bind to make it more clear. Oh, sorry, a console variable that's enabled to make it more clear what weapon he's actually using. Don't know why nothing shows when he's got a lightning gun out, but yeah. So when the weapon reloads fully, it switches back to the boomstick. That's how it works in this game. So when that happens, you cannot drop that weapon. You have to. The only way to drop the weapon in a pack is if you lose it whilst the reload has not finished. And obviously that's very important considering how strong the weapons are. So it can be a bit of an art to understanding how to basically not give away weapons in fights and understand when the fight is over in these very quick engagements. And just, you know, because it's better to not give it, almost in the majority of times, it's better not to give away the rocket launcher or the lightning gun because they're so incredibly powerful. All it takes is them to pick up an armor, which, you know, if it's yellow, if it's a red, any type of armor takes 20 seconds to respawn. It's better just to not drop the pack in almost every situation, unless you know your team can pick it up. But that's another thing entirely. Anyway, so we'll see that should be a lightning gun pack. Indeed, it is. But he already had one, so it's just some ammunition for him. Xanthem's getting pretty stacked at this point. And the red armor has now spawned for him. And with the quad, okay, it's been taken away by Dicky. And with the quad spawning, this is, of course, you know, a done deal now for Fragmatic. Even in a game like QuakeWorld, where you can have swings of 100 frags, this is not going to happen here for Fragmatic. Oh, sorry, rather for Sudden Death. So, good times indeed. So we'll see Fragmatic picking up the next quad damage, and it's just again running the rounds, taking control of the yellow armor area. But there you go, Dicky was distracted, and there's the little trap set up with the lightning gun player underneath him whilst the distraction was running in. And you can see how powerful that weapon is, even without almost any armor. I don't think he had any armor actually with the lightning gun. It was a kill onto the stacked quad, so it just goes to show how powerful these weapons are, and how there's always a way back. However, it's too little too late, and even Sudden Death with some of these small opportunities have found themselves unable to actually capitalize on the chances that they did get. And, you know, largely speaking, you know, you have some really good players here on Fragmatic's team. Like I said, Milton, arguably the best player, perhaps of all time. That's you know, a statement that can be an argument. Of course, of his era, absolutely. Of all time is always a difficult one, but of his era, absolutely, I would say. His era has lasted a long time. So here we go. Xanthem's going for the quad run there. And you can see he's going to be getting himself back into the red armor room as he's quite low. And with 2.5 minutes to go, Fragmatic at this point are pretty safe in their scoreline. So here we go. The super shotgun. There's not. Oh, it's so satisfying. Boosh, boosh. Ah, it's so satisfying. Also, when you gib someone or jib them, whatever the hell it is, when you make their body explode, it is glorious. With that gun, it feels so satisfying. So we will have Xanthem just keeping the area under control here. Let's check out the stats. So Milton's on 86 frags. Of course he is. 16 deaths. You what, mate? Interestingly, so what we're using to spectate is auto track, and auto track you can see why it's good. Auto track chooses who to spectate based on power-ups, based on, you know, who has what weapon and how strong they are with the weapon. A nice little hunt there from Rickle. He's able to hunt down a weapon. It's very unfortunate for Fragmatic. Oh, sorry, rather for Sudden Death that this turnaround is happening right now, because this is actually looking pretty solid. They got two. This is the first time they have a rocket advantage, I think. Rickle needs to be able to take this red armor, and it's kind of likely that someone should be up here, but actually no. Yep, looks like it's clear. And that's going to be red armor for Sudden Death. Great, they've got control, guys. With a minute to go. And 150 frags behind. 160 frags. 161 frags behind even. So that's unfortunate for them. Maybe a bit of complacency from Fragmatic. They'd otherwise been pretty damn solid the entire time. Why is my phone going off so much? Hang on, I can just mute it. There we go. Should have done that a while ago. But anyway. We shall see Rickle there making the rounds back into red armor, and it's looking pretty good. He's going to get some extra kills here now. Just padding out those stats. And we'll see the damage stats at the end. And there are some interesting stats that are pretty important. Such as, you know, weapons, rocket launchers killed and rocket launchers dropped. Those are two very, very big stats in this game. We've got Rickle now killing his teammates, which is great. Thank you, Rickle. He's going to be picking up more armor. So the game is over now. GGs will be coming in. You can see 89 frags to Milton, 26 deaths. So he died 10 times in like the last minute or so. So I guess he lost his weapon and his armor. But I mean, generally you can see that they kept control for so long in this one. We're going to look at the stats here per player. So taken and given there for Rio, damage taken and damage given is pretty awful. Who's performing well here? Rickle did pretty well. It killed 4, dropped 8 rocket launchers. That's that's a really big deal. You can see that he was with the yellow armors and megas and stuff that he took. That he had weapons. He got 10 rocket launchers taken, so he was in the position to do a lot of stuff. But with a lot of drops, he was definitely in spots which were, I guess, pretty hard to deal with. You can see 8 taken here for Carapace, but looks like he was unable to really get much. Actually, he was able to get a few armors, but we saw the lockdown that that sudden death had. It was rather Fragmatic had. It was pretty brutal. And now we're going to start to see their statistics. The damage taken to give is pretty good. 6 killed, 2 dropped, and that's going to look a lot better for this team because they had so much more control. They were fragging rocket launchers that likely had a lot less armor and less position than they did. Xantum given 10k, taking 7.9, so pretty good. And then we get to Milton. Actually, Milton, despite having all those frags, he had around the same amount of damage as Xantum. Killed 15 and dropped 1. Fucking hell. Jesus, Milton. Jesus Christ. And, alright, so... Okay, so there it is. There is some QuakeWorld for you guys. That's what the game is. Bit nuts. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a stomp. There, of course, were more games in this series. There were it was a best of 3. So I'll get the rest of them done, over time. And I imagine a lot of you have never seen this game before, and there's a lot of this kind of content on my channel. So give me your thoughts, should you have any to give. And I thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next video.